Gate 7 International Podcast, your official English source for all things Olympiacos FC and Greek football.
The first day of training is when I realized, this is why they win the league every year.
When I spoke with Kevin, if I gonna sign or no for Olympiacos, he said, you are crazy, go direct, my friend.
Να πετύχω ήθελα να μείνω στην ιστορία του Ολυμπιακού.
I can't speak, sure.
Yeah.
Έλα μαλάκα!
Σ' αγαπώ πάρα πολύ, Πειραιάς. Είμαι Γάβρος πάντα, όλοι μαζί.
What's up, boys and girls? Gate 7 International is here live post-match for Olympiacos Panathinaikos. Dreadful 1-0 loss in the derby. 3 games against Panathinaikos this season. 0 goals for Olympiacos. Not a great streak. Not a great streak at all. And guys, we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But before we move on with anything post-match or before I start opening the lines up, don't forget, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell at the bottom right corner of the screen so that you can get notified every time we go live, every time we do something on the channel, whether it's an Olympiacos DC live stream, whether it's a live episode, whether it's a new video short that's being posted. Hit that button so you can stay updated. Subscribe so that you can help build the global red-white Olympiacos community. Now, boys and girls, a couple of quick housekeeping items, some things maybe that'll lift your spirits a little bit before we get into the ugly stuff. Olympiacos DC had a huge 6-0 win over the weekend. They are undefeated in UPSL. That's 4th Division U.S. soccer. And Olympiacos DC is chugging away this season. 2 straight division finals in UPSL competition. They're looking to do much better than that this season, and they've already started off very well. Additionally, we had the B team with a big win, 2-1. So we like seeing some Olympiacos teams win. Boys and girls, we also want to thank our sponsor, Paooly International. For anybody that needs any type of shipping, whether it's to and from Greece, olive oil, cars, packages, you name it, call our friends at Paooly International at 410-675-4696 or send them an email to sales, S-A-L-E-S, at piraeusintl.com. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Let's get into the ugly scenes we just saw today. 1-0 Olympiacos versus Panathinaikos. Couple of you checking in already. Manos, good to see you, buddy. The only pleasant thing that's happening so far is seeing you guys check in. Kevin Milaras, where is Petro? Guys, Peter, as we mentioned already, Peter is a PhD. He's a PhD candidate, so he is actually doing research in the Arctic. He's with the penguins, guys. He's hanging out where it is below freezing. Poor kid, but he's loving life up there. Peter will be back before you know it. Don't worry, everyone. Oh, yes. So, comments coming in already. Tutelotut. Sad thing is that I think many of us expected this today. Yeah, a lot of us were worried going into this. That's for sure. Mano coming in again. I haven't seen a worse Olympiacos than that. And yes, I'm including the Hazi team, even though we haven't won the title. 22 years of age. Look, it was bad. And I have seen all over social media people saying the same thing. This was reminiscent of Besnik Hazi. In our chat with Lambro, in our chat with our WhatsApp group, Lambro said the same thing. Lambro also said that this reminded him of Hazi. So Lambro's not going to disagree with any of you there. No, Tutelotut, you are so right. Peter did not have to see that performance, and he's better for it. He is way better for it. Guys, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about this. Do I say the same thing we've been saying for the last couple weeks? Do I keep saying that? Well, look, maybe let's start from the beginning. Let's start with the lineups. When the lineups came out, there was a big surprise. And that big surprise was the inclusion of Mamadou Kane in the lineup. Now, I don't think a lot of us at this point in time were really surprised that maybe he made the start over Madi because Madi hasn't been very good all season. But it definitely sent a signal about something else. And when we saw Jan Villa and Kane, and then, of course, Agibu as our midfield setup with no real creative player because, as we all know, Agibu is not the most creative player. He runs a lot, he presses a lot, but we have way more creative players that are on the pitch. All of our creative guys were on the bench. Fortuny, Carvalho, and Valbuena. So our top goal contributors. Well, minus Fortuny, who's been injured most of the season. You guys have seen the stats that we've been posting on social media. There are top contributors. Yorgos Masouras, who also is, in terms of goal contribution for the season, best on the team, non-penalty goal contribution. So he was on the field. But our other creative guys, Carvalho, who is, in terms of his expected goal contribution on a per 90-minute basis, the best on the team, did not start this game. Now, in a few moments, guys, I'm going to drop a link because I do want your opinions. I'm going to open the lines up. I'm rolling solo today. And instead of listening to myself talk this whole time, I want to hear what you have to say. A lot of you have plenty of stuff to say. And I mean, the comments are already filling up. So I want to give you guys your opportunity to say something. And if you're not comfortable, go ahead, dump it in chat because we're gonna get into all of your comments. I'll get into them as fast as I can because they're coming through. You guys are putting some big ones here pretty quickly, but we'll do that. Now, like I said, I'm gonna drop the link and join me whenever you're comfortable, whenever you guys feel like it. Hop on in. I'll ask you a couple of questions. We'll see maybe how you felt. Maybe perhaps you guys have a different take on this than I do. But go ahead. The link is live. Click on it. If you want to come up here and share your thoughts, I'll bring you on board and you can share your thoughts. Now, going back to the lineup, like I said, once we saw that midfield, even with Gary and Masouras, forget everything else. We see that midfield. We see Gary. We see Yorgos Masouras. We see Youssef El Arabi at the number 9. That midfield signaled something to us, and that was that this was going to be a pessimistic match from Pedro Martins. Yeah, we saw it coming, boys and girls. A lot of us weren't feeling too good about this game before we came into it because Pedro Martins has become very pessimistic. Some say he's losing the plot. Some say maybe he's just afraid to lose. Some people say that because of what happened with COVID early in the season, and because of what's been going on, we're doing the best we can with the situation we were given. All I'm going to say is our chickens are now coming to roost. Getting by the skin of our teeth in games where we are relying on wonder goals by the likes of Agibu Kamara, by the likes of Cisse especially. I mean, Cisse almost bailed us out again today. He gets the header on the corner, but of course, it was a push off. I mean, he missed the head anyway. I don't know what else to say, guys. I don't know what else to say. There's a lot of questions, a lot of stuff coming in here. Lakis Gavalas, which team look like it has had the same coach for 4 years? Embarrassing. Yeah, you're not wrong, buddy. Manos G7. I can accept this year's performance. I just can't see any reason to be optimistic for next season. The team was at a 9 out of 10 level 2 years ago, and now 4 out of 10. We are sick. Yeah, it's a compilation of a lot of things. Some bad transfers that came in. Yeah. It's crazy. Another one from Kevin Milaras. Garalis from Sport FN said, really to the point, by the way, we are the worst champions with over 10 points difference ever. And I mean ever. He's not wrong. We've been saying this all season. We're going to win the Greek Super League. PAOK lost again today. So we're going to maintain our lead at the top. But this is the worst. If assuming we do win the title, which it looks like we will, there's a very high probability, very, very high, 99% chance we win the title at this rate, even though we look terrible. This will be the worst team, the worst Olympiacos team I have witnessed win a title in my life. I cannot think of any Olympiacos team that won a title that looked as bad as this team does. I agree with that 100%. Vagulas 12. What was the point of subbing El Arabi at halftime? WTF. Look, my man, a lot of us had some questions about that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about that. That confused me too, guys. Look, subbing El Arabi off. Look, I only have two explanations for you guys. First explanation is that El Arabi asked to be subbed off. This game got physical. He was on the end of some shoves here and there. Maybe he asked for a sub. That could be one. What I think is more likely is that Martin saw that El Arabi was struggling. He did have a couple of nice plays. He had that beautiful ball in the first half when we were pinned in our third that sent Jan Villa, who then unlocked Gary Rodriguez on the side. But besides that, he did mess up a lot. I mean, he couldn't keep hold of the ball. He couldn't keep possession very well. So that, I think that was more it. And maybe the hope was that with Tiquinho running and then the triple sub that he was planning on making, maybe he was hoping more service would get brought in to the box. All of these are different possibilities. I do see some comments here about Jan Villa, or sorry, not Jan Villa, about players like Madi starting. You guys are right. It is Ramadan. That's correct. So that is, yes, that's how it happens. Guys, look, this has been happening. The substitutions like this for withholding players because they're fasting from Ramadan. It's not new. It's been happening well before this year. You know, do you really want a player on there that's maybe not that doesn't have substance in him, that hasn't eaten? Look, and also Madi hasn't been playing that great this season. Do you really think much would have changed if he was on the field? I'm gonna say no there. But we do have. I'm not running solo anymore, boys and girls. I've got Costa here. Costa, how are you doing, buddy?
What's happening, my friends? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly, man. I'm so sorry you had to spoil your vacation with this game.
I've been having a good time, man. I watched bits of the first half. I have practically no Wi-Fi connection, so yeah, I managed to watch bits and pieces the first half. And I went for a jog second half actually because the Wi-Fi was so bad, and I was listening on the radio. And all I can say about the second half is, I think it was all Panathinaikos. I only heard Cisse's name a couple of times, Socrates, Vachlik, and Valbuena when that collision happened. But otherwise, it was just like I was listening to a barrage of Panathinaikos possession. I think I read statistically they had around 60% possession the entire game. Higher. It's insane and
unacceptable.
Completely, I fully agree, and you know, I could go on a massive rant and talk about how shit things are. It feels like we're getting a bit repetitive in that sense, but this is what I want to say. I really hope that the club owner, the board, and everyone at Olympiacos HQ is as upset as all the Olympiacos fans are tonight. That they cannot possibly see that performance tonight against our arch rivals and accept that things are going okay because we're top of the table and everybody else below us is crap. We can't hide behind COVID, the team's tired, etc., etc., etc. anymore. We need to look in the mirror. Mistakes have been made. The squad is too big. The manager's completely lost the plot. Like, is this the same manager we had 2 years ago? How many more free passes is he going to get? Is it all his fault? Probably not. But what I see, and I continue to see, is a coach that's scared. Where on earth did Kane come from today? He wanted to play with two defensive midfielders. Where did that come from today?
And
but you're
Agibu.
too scared. Yeah, you're
Yep.
too scared to play with a 6, an 8, and a 10 against Panathinaikos. He's scared. Could it? We're the team with the biggest budget in all of Greece. This is the most inflated budget we've had in years. It's unacceptable, man. But that's it.
Yeah.
My main point. My main point is, I hope the people at HQ are as upset as we are, and no more. We're +11. Like, no, man. Like, Martins is lucky that the next game is in Duba. He's lucky that the next game is in Duba. Right now, I can't see us beating Bauk. Bauk always seem to have a mental edge. Like, they seem to be better prepared mentally whenever they face us the last couple of years.
Yep.
And I can't see us beating them. And I'm saying again, we're lucky that we're going to Duba and that the game's not a Karaiskaki, because things could turn ugly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what the next game is after the cup game. It's Easter, so I guess there are no games
Yanina,
this weekend.
I think following the cup game, it's Yanina again.
That's it, mate. Those are my that's my post match for you right there.
Yeah, listen, Costa, you brought up some things that I talked about already with the midfield pairing. As soon as we saw Kane and Mvila and then Agibu as the 10, all of our creative guys on the bench, we posted all of those stats about goal contribution, where it was coming from, who it was coming from. All of our most creative guys were on the bench. We knew it was going to be ugly. Aside from Yorgos Masouras and then Gary Rodriguez as our wingers, this was going to be, it wasn't going to be the most innovative game. But aside from that, it's just some very weird decisions that have been made. I'm not sure. I don't know, Costa. I mean, I've had a lot of patience. I feel like I'm one individual that has been a lot more patient than most, at the very least.
You
And
and me
seeing
both.
this, exactly. Even Costas Llanos, you know what I mean? Lambro and Peter have kind of been blowing steam off for a long time now, but we've been very patient, the three of us.
Yeah.
And this game today just made me sick. I understand, when have we ever gone away in a derby in the last few years and played scared?
Dude, we haven't scored a goal against Panathinaikos this
In 3
season.
games.
I don't know if you mentioned it already.
I did. I mentioned it. It's terrible. I mean, I like the joke that you had when we were talking before in WhatsApp about the mid block, right?
Yeah. Dude, like to your point, like, when I saw the lineup, I thought, okay, he's gonna play Kane as a 6, as a holding player, and then Villa's gonna be in kind of a free, a role in the middle where he does his thing, like he gets the ball moving, possession, and Agibu's gonna be the 8 in a 4-3-3.
Yep.
And then I told you, like, I didn't have a good Wi-Fi connection to watch the game, but from the bits and pieces that I saw, I noticed that Mvila was playing the 6, and Agibu and Kane were playing in front of him, and I thought, what?
Yeah.
Like, in what world does that make any sense? And then the mid block, it's a joke, mate. It's like you just have the entire team waiting on the halfway line.
Exactly. It's
And
very
then-
generous. It's very generous to
Yeah.
call it a mid block. Guys, when we say mid block, we mean that the players technically, just like against Fenerbahce, the players are sitting around the midfield circle. And then when the ball is brought there, they're supposed to be pressing. But today they just sat there. They didn't do anything else.
They didn't
So
press. Yeah.
crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But continue your thought, Costa. I just wanted to make sure I explained that to the listeners.
You were. I mean, you made the point, Ari. When Panathinaikos were crossing the halfway line, you thought, all right, this is a mid block. Like, what happens is, as soon as they get near the halfway line, we press. And we were walking. Like, there was no press, no intensity, no nothing. That was the story, analytically, defensively. Yeah?
Yes.
But on the offensive side, again, from the little that I watched and what I was hearing on the radio, you correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, we were just passing the ball around the back, and the ball would go to Lala. Lala would play a long ball.
Yep.
Someone connected with it. We lost the ball. Start again. Panathinaikos has the ball. A couple of times, Reabchuk made a decent cross into Masouras, and Masouras made a cross instead of shooting. But just no ideas, no creativity, and as soon as the ball kind of gets to the halfway line, we didn't know what to do with it. Just hoof it up top, and that's what it hurt. That's what it sounded like on the radio as well. It's just, Olympiacos regains possession, hoof. We lost the ball again. We're on the back foot.
Honestly, and that's how it was. We couldn't get the ball forward. Like it would either be a mistake, somebody would make a bad mistake or slip or a bad pass. I mean, we only had a handful of great moments of ball movement going forward, and that was a lot of those were in the first half. Whether Masouras runs being rewarded, the El Arabi ball when we were pinned in our third, he played it up to Jan and Villa, who then played that seemed like a dangerous ball. I mean, Gary needs to do better playing Masouras a little bit quicker. Also, Masouras needs to be on sides and stay there. And also in the beginning of the game, Masouras cannot miss that. He cannot whiff that first opportunity. That could have put us up 1-0 in the beginning. But look, a lot of bad things, but a lot of consistent things. I said this right before you got on, Costa. The chickens are coming to roost. The unsustainable results we were getting before are coming to us now. The wonder goals from Agibu Kamara aren't there anymore. The wonder goals, Cisse can't save us every game.
Yeah. He was playing number 9 at the end of the game, right?
At the end of the game, he was getting forward. This is unsustainable. And now the unsustainability is catching up because we're not getting those things, eking those results out. I mean, we've won 1 playoff game since the playoffs started. That's it. We drew Ike, we drew Yanina, now we lost. And we barely beat Aris. We have to say that. It wasn't a convincing win. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. I mean, look, Costa, before we get further, our co-host, Kostas Lianos, also had some comments. His video is uploaded now. So, guys, we're going to let Costa's video air. You guys can hear his thoughts, and then we will continue the conversation right afterwards.
Matches between Olympiacos and Panathinaikos are hardly a derby these days, but tonight's Olympiacos team definitely made it look like a derby. Olympiacos are in quite a downward spiral. Their performances at the playoffs definitely do not match the performances in the normal period. Another sorry show from Olympiacos, who should have not been struggling against the Panathinaikos side of this caliber. It just seems like that Ludogorets game from the Champions League, third round qualifier, it was basically a warning of what's to come, really, I believe. A team of players perhaps that had completed their circle at Olympiacos and should have been gone a while ago because, well, I'm not going to say they didn't want to be at Olympiacos, but like I said, their circle had been completed and they wanted to go for bigger and better things. And it didn't happen, and because they stayed longer, even though it looked good for Olympiacos because they would have high-quality players, their heart maybe is not 100% in it. I mean, who's going to pay now all that? Is Agibu Kamara surely going to be commanding such a high fee? Will Pedro Martins be a manager that the big teams would like to sign after this? Kostas Fortounis, I mean, obviously he's been injured. Madi Kamara didn't play tonight, but he has been quite disappointing throughout the entire season. I mean, who's going to command the high fee now from Olympiacos except Pape Abou Cisse? There's something internally wrong with Olympiacos, it seems. I wonder about the play. I mean, there's a lot of quality in the team, but I do wonder about the players' mentality right now. Do they want to be at Olympiacos? Is their heart set on it? because they sure as hell are not showing it on the pitch lately. There's gonna changes will need to happen within the team. I mean, I watched Olympiacos play a friendly against Shakhtar Donetsk, who hadn't played for 2 months, and Shakhtar looked good against that Olympiacos team. They barely beat them, Olympiacos. When it comes to Pedro Martins, I'm starting to feel the same way I felt about Arsene Wenger during his last few years at Arsenal. It really felt like, you gotta leave while you're still on top, because you're at risk of tarnishing your legacy. I don't know. I mean, he earned that contract that he had, but there's something wrong at Olympiacos right now that I don't feel like Pedro Martins is convincing that he can change it. He can turn this around. He's not one of those managers that can turn a crisis situation around easily, it seems. And I don't know. I mean, Pedro Martins still a luxury at Olympiacos and Greek league, but I don't know. Maybe if he doesn't win the league, if he doesn't win the cup, or at least doesn't make the final, maybe it'd be easier if he is dismissed, so that Olympiacos can start preseason with a new manager instead of risking having him in the qualifiers for the Champions League and having a disastrous campaign in the qualifiers. Disastrous means no Champions League and no Europa League. If they don't even make the conference, then that's even worse than disastrous. I don't have a word for that. Maybe you guys do. But the truth is that if Olympiacos don't make it to at least the Europa League next season, that's going to be a disaster. If they don't make it to the conference, that's going to be an absolute humiliation. I don't know if Pedro Martins can do it anymore at Olympiacos. I'm not too sure if his heart is really set on it, if he wants bigger things, if he wants greater things right now. So maybe the Greek Cup could be like the limit. If you don't win the cup or at least make the final, because make no mistake about it, guys, PAOK right now are the favorites to go through. PAOK they lost to Aris, but they have momentum going on right now. Like Razvan Lucescu is implementing his principles and his mentality and philosophy in that team, which is the opposite of Martins right now, who's kind of losing his grip. I don't know. When it comes to the league, I still think Olympiacos are going to win it. I mean, there's an 11-point lead. But if they do mess up, I would not be totally surprised, if I'm being honest. Anywho, big decisions Olympiacos need to make. Let's start with the manager and go all the way down. Let's see how this pans out, but do not be shocked if some huge decisions and changes are made within the next few weeks.
Well, thank you, Costa, for your words. Costa with a K, that is. And guys, I'll take this quick second or two to remind you, hit that subscribe button, join the Gate 7 international mission to grow the red, white, and community and make it the largest international community for a sports team that we can, elevating Greek teams to new heights. That's exactly what we do here. I also want to quickly shout out Costa's interviews. Costa had a couple of interviews. He went to the friendly with Shakhtar Donetsk. He interviewed a couple of players. He's posted some things on his Twitter, and we are going to be getting some videos together and posting those live as well. So check that out. Watch the space so that you can stay on board with all of that information. And Costa, we got some comments coming in, man. They've just been rolling in. I missed some of them I haven't yet gotten to, so I just want to read a couple and give a quick take on some of these. So first one is Mario's K. So what's the excuse Martins is going to use now?
So can somebody answer me? Did he or did he not make post-match comments after the game ended?
That's right. I didn't see it, but I also turned it off. I only gave it a couple minutes, and I turned it off to get ready for the live. But Lambro did say he didn't even show up for post-match. If you guys can, if anybody sat through the whole thing, and if you can comment on whether he actually did come and make comments or not, please. But on Marios's K, his question generally, what do you think is the excuse? Is there one? Is he going to give one?
I'm lost for words, man.
Hey, you and me
In
both.
that sense, like, what's his excuse now?
Who knows? There is none. There's no
I don't know.
excuse. Maybe
We weren't good. We weren't good today. I don't know. I don't
maybe
know
he
what his
blames
excuse is.
Ramadan. Maybe he blames Ramadan because some players, you know, maybe that's it. Here, let's. We got more comments, man. So many more. Tutte la tu. We're gonna get knocked out in the cup at this rate, so we might as well sack Martins right now. Try and save our cup hopes. I know Lambro and Peter would agree with this. How about you?
I don't give a shit. I said it before. I don't really give a shit about the cup. That's not the point. That there are bigger issues at stake than the cup, and Costas, my namesake with a K, alluded to those more important points. Like, do we need to start the season with a new manager? What happens with our European campaign? We start very early this season. I'm being really honest with you. With this team, the way we're playing now, we are the exact thing that some people in the Olympiacos board are taking the piss out of, which is a Europa Conference League team. And I've been saying that since the beginning of the season, since Ludogorets. And again, my namesake mentioned that was a turning point in terms of realizing, what is this team capable of this year? Do we deserve to be in the Champions League? You only deserve to be in the Champions League if you get through all the qualification rounds, because the teams you play against are proper teams. And then, we're a high-seeded team in the Europa League, and we came up against, who was it? Slovan Bratislava. I can't even remember their name.
Yep. No, that's it.
And then we made it to the Europa League group stages. But the Europa League is getting better every season. It's not going to be a walk in the park. I don't know, man. Like, I haven't come out like with a clear kind of position on, I know on the last show you were asking guests, Martins stay or go. He's under scrutiny every single game until the end of the season. And I think a lot will depend on what happens in the cup, but I can't see the management sacking him for the sake of the cup.
Right.
They might sack him. They might sack him if he doesn't win the cup, or if he gets knocked out embarrassingly by PAOK. Maybe, but then who are you going to find to come and join the team beginning of June? And then the only thing I can say to that is, I hope the president is on the phone to Ernesto Valverde right now, and Valverde, he's off, doing his art thing, and he's still not managing a club. That's the only hope that I have. But Valverde has a very specific way of playing as well, which will take time for the players to implement. And we remember what it was like the first time when we got knocked out 3-0 by Anorthosi. Yeah. And anyone, shout out to Betarades right now. They did an interview with Tassos Pados a few weeks ago. Go and listen to what Pados was saying about what happened when Valverde joined the team. But I'm sidetracking.
Yeah. We also got some comments about looks like Martins did come and make a press conference. Look at my eyes, DC. He took full responsibility, even with Kostas Lianos popping in and saying, yes, he did. Martins made post-match comments, and Kostas Lianos followed up saying he didn't use any excuses. So yeah, I mean, there's so many more comments. I can't even keep up with them. But here's one here. And this one resonates with me, Laki. And the panic move of throwing Valbuena and Fortunis together in the second half. Oh yeah, you could tell that triple change. Yeah. That was panic. It was panic, and I don't understand. I'm going to bring this up again. I don't understand how we could play this game without Carvalho in the team, in the 11. If you guys did not see the data, maybe I can upload it pretty quickly here, but he is our best creator. It's ridiculous. And he was not on the field in this game, in the tight game.
All right, all right. I don't know if you mentioned this already, but in the build up to this game, there were articles in the press like a couple of days that Pape Cisse was going to be playing left back. Just shows like what's going on in the manager's head and what has gone wrong with this squad, the way it's been built. Like that for me says so much. That seriously, like Cisse was training as a left back the last for 2-3 days last week, and Martins was seriously considering it. What does that say?
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. Well,
sorry, one more thing. The Fortunis Valbuena thing. You know what it reminds me of? Just to have a giggle. It reminds me of what was the name of that godforsaken coach that we had after Marco Silva left? Sanchez. Yeah, you remember Sanchez? He went away, or was it at home to Israel, and played Dominguez, Fortunis, and
yeah,
he played with 3 10s.
yeah.
And we still lost. It just reminded me of that. It's like no hope. It's just like I'm just going to throw creative players on and see what happens.
Yep. Now, guys, we do have somebody that's here to air his feelings, but real quick, wanted to address this comment from our good buddy Doron Tor. Wow, is Carvalho really good? That good for you? Listen, buddy, I just told you we did this past week. We had a whole bunch of stats that we dropped every day, different metrics regarding goal contribution, and Joao Carvalho in such a short time. When it comes to expected goal contribution per 90 minutes, he is the highest on the team, creates the most chances, and he is a very welcome addition. Thank you and Nottingham Forest for him, because he is one of the only people that has some type of attacking flair for us that can create something. He's been surely a breath of fresh air, and thank you again, Nottingham Forest / Mr. Panathinaikos for bringing him to Olympiacos. But without further ado, let's bring in our first guest who wants to share his views with us. Vitas Leonidos 7. Vitas, how you doing, buddy?
Not so good.
No surprise.
It was like one of those nightmares where you're trying to scream, and you can't get the scream out. And it was like a slow motion car crash. I could see we weren't going to score. But I was watching and waiting. And I think Martins doesn't know how to motivate the players at this point. We're a fair way ahead. And I think 50% of a job of a manager is making sure the players are motivated for every game. It's not only tactical. And it just seems we've taken our foot off the gas. And it was just horrible to watch. Horrible game.
Yep. And, it kind of last year when we had pretty much clinched the title by the second half of the season and the players had left the foot off the gas, we're sitting there like, come on, they look like they're in second gear. We didn't expect that level of play. It could get worse than that, because to us it was, man, we had just seen this. Even the first half of the season was pretty good by all metrics. But then this season came along, and now this, and it just seems like every time we think we've hit bottom, it just seems it can get worse. We see that it can get actually just a little bit worse, just a little bit less innovative, just a little bit more disorganized. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah,
these are not the things I like to be surprised with.
I think you brought up some good points before. I think that there was panic before, and the idea of Cisse on the left, and I think that Martins was worried. He's obviously seeing stuff in training we're not, that's not that positive.
Of course.
And I don't know what happened with Maddie, but something obviously we don't know about went on there. Because he was obviously set to start for this game, but then some internal problem.
There was a comment here. I think it was from Kevin Milaras. Let me pull it up. Because there was a lot of comments about Ramadan, obviously. But let me find it. I think it was Kevin that said it. But he had mentioned that Madi skipped a video session, a review session. And that's why he was left out. For some reason, I can't. Oh, here we go. This was it right here. Kevin Milara said, guys, Mari wasn't in the squad because he did not go see video analysis. I did not see that personally. So
he wasn't on the bench either.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't in the squad, yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. But a lot of people, the patience is wearing thin. There are a lot of people. I mean, here, this is a new one. Savrakatos, buddy, I think this is the first time we've seen you live, but if the team fails to win the cup, my patience from our teams will be over. And Vitas, you have somebody checking in to say hi. Kostas Papadimitriou, our good friend.
Kostas, yeah.
Always engaging with us.
I think, though, getting back to the fundamentals of the problem, our fullbacks all season have been useless.
Of course.
And I know people have made apologies for that, and they said, yeah, but you need to give Oleg more time because he's a work in progress. But we don't have time for a work in progress at fullback. We need the fullbacks of old, like Torresidis, like Holebas when he was on fire. We need fullbacks who can chip in with goals, not just make a little run and then pass back the way Oleg does, or Kenny Lala, who sometimes he plays okay, but I mean, really, he's sort of like third grade fullback. I'm massively disappointed in him in particular, actually, considering where he came from. And I think those two positions are key, actually, because I'm okay with Tiquinho up front. I think we're stacked in the midfield, but I think those two fullback positions have just let us down massively.
No, you're right. And here, to your point earlier about we don't need a product that we have to build. We need something ready-made. Even if we were going to build one, right? We've been hearing this Project Nutsimikas bullshit now, because that's what I'm calling it, for months. And how many times have we seen Kitos play?
Yeah.
Twice? I mean, this is getting ridiculous. If this is Project Nutsimikas, he surely should have been playing a few more games by now.
Yeah, and especially now, because I think the league is in the bag. I don't think I'm being arrogant in saying that. And
no, Bob keeps finding ways to lose.
And I think you want to put in the young players who are desperate to show something.
Exactly, I agree.
At this point. And I don't know, with these B teams, it's a bit strange now because a lot of clubs are leaving quite promising players in the B teams just to get consistency there. But as I said, I just think first thing has to be done in the summer is we have to sort out both fullbacks and have a plan, because I think this has affected us all over. Another thing, El Arabi looked a bit slow today. For the first time, I've actually thought he actually looks like not the player that I remember today. There was something very lethargic. He didn't look anywhere close to the pace. I don't know if he's fasting or what, but he looked very out of it today. And I think Martins would have brought him off after 15 minutes if he could have. But, obviously it's massively humiliating. You never do that. But he didn't look anywhere near the game today. I don't know what that's about. But, contracts, it's I think I'm starting to come around with Costa now that maybe it's a bit overvalued considering his wages. But I think it's just maybe he's just gone over the hill slightly today. It just looks like a slower player today. He didn't look like he could do any damage to Panathinaikos.
I'm with you. Look, I've been a little bit more critical of El Arabi also this season in general because the production hasn't been there. And when I first heard about the renewal talks and the numbers being thrown around, for me, it was I was like, no way, not with this production. No way we can give him the same money, let alone more money. Now, there's two quick comments I wanted to get to real quick. One in particular, guys, this one's from DG14. If you guys saw the stats that we posted this week, DG14, who actually is Red Al, as he says in the comment here, I'm Red Al from Twitter, who asked for the non-penalty XG stats per 90. And I said that although I'm very afraid our coaching staff might not even know what XG and XA are, I unfortunately have been proven right. Thank Red Al, guys, because he's the one that gave us the idea for that set of statistics. So if you like those and it showed you guys something that you thought was interesting, that was actually from his idea. And there's a comment here from Ahira Mazda. Nikolakopoulos said that Kitos isn't in Martin's plans. So between Kotsis and Nikolakopoulos, we're getting two completely different stories here. One says it's Project Nutsimikas. The other is saying he's not in the plans. Don't you love it, Costa? Don't you love it when your insiders are giving conflicting info? I love it.
I mean, Cisse is the starting left back now. Apparently, or didn't know going into the game.
Who knows,
I mean, I said I've been confused all week. It's like, okay, we're going to see this. And look, we've talked about the wing back situation pretty much consistently, like throughout the year. And more recently, we said you can't expect more from Oleg if there's no competition behind him.
Exactly.
Because I actually think that Oleg had a really, a good development from the beginning of the season to December. I think he was a critical player in our Europa League campaign. He got the goal against Antwerp in the first game. He got the assist for Tiquinho's goal against Fener. I think he, limit up. Like he did well going into Christmas, and after that, mate, when you're a player that's just, you're number one and you're playing week in, week out, 2-3 games a week, you're gonna have a dip. And like, he's a young player. I've said it many times before. He's that type of player that at Porto played on the left side of a 3-man defence. That's the kind of left back that he is. He's not the kind of left back like Yorgatos or Tsimikas or, players that have started as left wingers or number 10s in Yorgatos' case and been brought back to play left back. He's never going to be able to, beat the man one-on-one and play a pinpoint cross or whip it in from deep. He's just not that kind of player. But I've always believed he has potential. But you can't push that potential to come out if you haven't got somebody to light a fire under your ass, like Ari said. Exactly.
Yeah.
If you've got no competition, you can't. As for Lala, I'm done, mate. Like, I'm done. Like, I've seen enough.
I actually gave Lala the benefit of the doubt the way you gave Oleg earlier, because I was like, "There's got to be something there." He looked the real deal, like just visually. He looked, and there's nothing. It's hollow.
Yeah. It's his effort, really, because technically he's actually a pretty technical player. He's got a very accurate cross. Fundamentally, he's pretty sound, but it's just like sometimes you see a soulless person on the field.
Yeah. And again, I mean, I think we've been spoiled with these fullbacks before we had. It's so fundamental to me to have a fullback who can go past a player and put in a cross, and I'm happy. And we haven't had that this season. And I think because we've just got so much superior players to everyone else, we're still top of the league because all the other teams are, actually Panathinaikos, to give them their fair due, it seems they're working with what they got fairly well. And it's very limited, but it seems everyone knows their place and they're sort of above the sum of their parts at the moment. We've got players on another level, but I do think that we're completely imbalanced at the back. Yes. And the idea of even putting Cisse on the left, I think it was before the game, that does speak directly of panic. I actually believe that rumor completely.
Me too.
Because I think Martin saw there was going to be a problem with goals before, and Cisse has come in with a few goals, and he was probably tempted to put him in the midfield, sort of as a defensive mid, I guess. And then, because at the end of the game, you saw he was playing up front, right? Because Martin's obviously said, just put him up there, try and get it on his head. He had the best chance of the game, actually, didn't he, with that header?
Well, and the Masura's chance in the beginning of the game was that still to me was like the chance right there.
Why did he control that?
I don't know. Like just freaking shoot it. And that's the thing sometimes with Masura's. Like sometimes I think he outthinks himself. He does the hardest part, like getting the run in, getting himself in the open positions. But man, it's just like make that decision. Just take the shot. Don't overthink this. You know?
He doesn't have that killer instinct sometimes. And he's got the pace and he's got a lot of ability. He's got a good build as well. But El Arabi should have been there for that. He was probably like 20 yards behind the player. I don't know. but we needed a killer up there, Tiquinho maybe to receive that. But I don't know. I think now for the cup, I want to know what you guys think about where we go from here.
I don't see us winning the cup, man. That I'm being honest. I don't see. We have won one playoff game. We are lucky that we didn't lose another playoff game. And to be honest, we're lucky we even won the first playoff game to begin with. I don't see how this team goes against PAOK, who is on a high. Look, guys, they lost in the UEFA Conference League, but they have gotten farther than they ever have in their history as a club. So we're going up against the PAOK now that's feeling pretty good. They did lose to Aris today. But we're going up against a team that is in better form than we are, as far as I'm concerned. And for some reason, when we play against them, we seem to just forget how to play. Well, that seems to be just how things are in derbies for us anyway. But I don't know. I just don't see us winning the cup. I don't see us getting past PAOK. If we do, it's going to be a surprise to me.
You know, the team has to show a reaction. They have to show some ego on Thursday when we play against PAOK. I mean, if I'm a football player, all I need to go out and play against PAOK is for my manager to put together a mashup of the things that Lucescu said over the last couple of weeks about Olympiacos. That's all I need. That's all I need. I just need to watch a mashup of everything that he said about Olympiacos in the last week, about us, always being favoured by the refs, and Epo works for Olympiacos and all of this stuff. That's enough motivation for me to go out there and kill them, not on the pitch in football terms.
We don't advocate violence on Gate 7 International.
Thank you, Ari. That's all I need, like in footballing terms. It's an easy job for a manager, really, to motivate players to go out and play against PAOK. I just don't know why we never turn up.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I think that the thing with Martins that has disappointed me, because I'm a big fan of Martins, and
I agree with you.
And I met him, and he's a lovely guy. And but one thing that I worry about sometimes is I don't think he can motivate the players properly, because a lot of Greek football, especially the derbies, is motivation, passion, Sabuka going in there, like, all guns blazing. And I just don't know what we, like today, I noticed very early on that Panathinaikos had a lot of possession, and I was like, but why aren't we controlling possession? Why are we letting them pass it? Why aren't we going in hard, closing space? And if we do this with PAOK, and PAOK are slow, by the way. I actually watched them against Aris before, because the game was on before. It was actually scheduled properly for a change by the EPO. So I could watch the game before, and they are tragically slow, PAOK. I mean, very slow. Bizesvar takes like 10 minutes to turn around. It's like watching Tsiolis. Do you remember when we had him in the midfield?
Oh my God.
He took like 4 touches to turn around. And they're really slow. So all we need is to go in with pace, motivation. We can score 4, but I don't think it's there. I just don't, as Ari said, I think even though they lost to Aris, they've got the momentum, and they're walking around with their big balls, thinking that they can take us on now. And
it's gonna be. Sorry.
Go on.
No, I watched the Marseille game, or I watched bits of it. The away game, that is. And the one thing I will say about PAOK is that at least they have some automatism. I don't know how you say that. In English, but in Greek it's automatismos. Like, you actually see some things that they've worked on the training ground when they move the ball forward, and when they interchange. Like,
they have a plan.
You don't see any of that on our team all season.
No.
Like, you used to see it when Valbuena would kind of, drift out to the wing and play those triangles with Pedense and El Abdelawi doing the overlaps and all of those kinds of things, but there's nothing now.
What the hell are we doing analysis as well, right? Because there were many times when we were just playing these lateral passes.
Yeah.
And there were clearly passes forward. And I remember distinctly Martin saying a few occasions, we're going to go through the video analysis because there was options that we didn't take. What is this? I mean, I'm just not seeing results of this. I mean, maybe Maddie was right to miss the video analysis because like I can't see what we're doing to improve this. It was almost like we were sitting on a 2-0 lead most of the game. How there wasn't much to go forward.
Yeah. No, you're right. And even we're down 1-0 in the second half, and we have numbers forward. They have the ball in their back. Why? And our wing backs are still sitting. They're not pressing. I didn't understand that for a second. Look, we probably could rant about this all night, but we are coming on to about an hour for the show. It is about that time where we start winding down. And there's a really important question here in the comments that I want to get everybody's opinion on before we close up. And before we let you go, Vitas, right here, this is from Ahira Mazda. What do you think the plan should be for the PAOK game? Play with the first team players or do a rotation as the team did in previous cup matches? Vitas, you start. What would you do for the PAOK game on Thursday?
First thing, LROB bench, Taquinho up front. That's the first thing. See how Maddie is. If you can get him motivated, put him back in the midfield. I'm not sure about Envila. We didn't mention him. I don't know if you guys spoke about him before I came on, but I thought he was very bad against Panathinaikos as well.
Yeah, briefly. We discussed possibly Ramadan being an issue. Maybe no juice.
All right. Okay, so maybe Bukalakis back in the midfield, motivated, fighting, speed, attack, and just motivation's going to be most of the game. If Martins can motivate the players, it's going to be a bloodbath out there. It's going to be a very rough game, I think. Yeah. Very aggressive, very old school Greek football, and I think it comes down to who wants it more at this point, because tactics and everything's gone out the window for us. So I think it's just, if the players can be motivated, I think we can do it, because PAOK are very slow, but I'm not sure after tonight.
Yeah, Costa, what do you think, man?
There's what I think, and then what I think Martins will do.
Well, that's always the case. So go ahead. What would you do? What do you think Martins is going to do?
Again, man, I said all you need to do to motivate the players for that game is put the video on and listen to Lucescu. And if that doesn't bring out ego or a reaction, just walk out the door. Yeah. Just don't bother getting on the plane to Thessaloniki if you're not fired up for that game. I agree with Vitas. I think you bring Bukalakis back in. You bring in anyone that's got, heart, passion. It's going to be one of those games, man. They're going to, you can be sure as hell there are going to be mind games leading up to that. There was more today. The only thing Lucescu didn't say today after losing to Aris is that, it's Olympiacos' fault.
Yeah, that's so true.
We only had 2 days rest, and Addis has been preparing for it all week. It's like they didn't play last weekend. He's going to have his players riled up. It's going to be very tough. I can see Martins going into that game with 3 at the back.
Oh yeah,
and then we know how that's going to end up. Yep. Somebody mentioned that in the comments.
He did. It was Red Owl, DG14 Red Owl, and I agree with you there. That's not going to surprise me at all. The comments right here. DG14 says PAOK 3-0 win on Thursday. Book it down. We're going to play 3-4-3. Vachlik, Lala, Manolas, Cisse, Socrates, Oleg, and Vila Bukalakis. Yeah, basically an anti football lineup, and that's not going to surprise me in the slightest. Not one bit.
I'll be very tempted to put Socrates and Manolas, just 2 at the back. Obviously Oleg and Lala. And Buka. Put as many Greek players as we can in there, and just go for it. Just war. But I don't know if Martins can motivate the players.
Mate, after today's game, I would put Lala in the same boat as Onyekuru. Done. Versailles right back. Project Versailles. Project New Abdullah.
Yeah, he actually played well at
Project New Torosivis. Whatever.
No, but he's actually right back. I'm with you on Bruce. I was surprised how good he was. Yeah.
I like him. He's got a good build. He's got a good build for a right back, and he's got good technique.
And he defended well when he played right back.
He did all right, man. I remember him from the City game as well. He did all right at right back when he got put on. I'm a fan. Like I like Vrusai.
Yeah, me too.
I'd like to see him.
He was pretty nice up there on the goal contribution statistics. A lot. He was higher than I expected. So
is he higher than Lala? Probably.
He was. Yes, he was.
There you go. Like put him in. He's Greek. Like put him in. Like put him in against PAOK. Get Vasilis Surlis into the first team for fuck's sake. Like somebody with a bit of energy, somebody with a motor, somebody that can run, somebody with a bit of technical ability. Like somebody just, get someone into that position. Kamara, I think's finished after today. I don't think Kamara's going to play again. I saw somebody commented in the chat as well that Martin said after the game, when asked the question about why was Kamara not in the squad, he said it's an internal matter. We'll be dealing with it. Yada yada yada. I wouldn't be surprised to see him quarantined and left out of squads. That's normally what happens.
Yeah. Well, Vitas, we're going to let you go. We're going to get ready and close things up. Thank you so much for joining and sharing your opinions.
My love.
Have a good one. Kalinifta. And then I hope the rest of your day is better today, and then it's a better day tomorrow. One final comment before we close up here from Saint Dem. It is funny that all other Greek teams focus all season just for that game against us. By the way, today the ref wanted us to lose. So many wrong decisions against us. Look, I am not going to disagree that the ref today was pretty bad. There were some awful decisions. And so many yellow cards that should have come out that didn't, but the ref isn't the reason we lost the game today. We lost the game today because we were shit. And that's it. Well, boys and girls, once again, before we close everything up here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell as well. Hit the notification button if you want to know anytime we come live, whether it's for a show like this, a post-match show, whether we do an interview, whether it's a video short or an Olympiacos DC match. Hit the bell. It'll ring every time we're about to go live. That way you can see what's going on and become a part of the conversation or join the live stream when it happens. Help us make this the biggest red-white community, the biggest Greek football community in existence. Now, Costa, before we wrap things up here, man, do you have any closing thoughts?
Well, mate, I think we pretty much did the rounds. Is it even worth doing a man of the match?
Nah, nope, I can't do it. I can't. I tried, man. I really did. I tried to build myself up doing this episode, maybe thinking I could get the wilt, and I just refuse. Because the coach's grade probably wouldn't be hard, but I can't think of a player that even.
It's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not. Sorry. It's not happening. Anyway, thank you everybody for listening, especially if you've made it this far. This is Gate 7 International, by the fans, for the fans. We'll see you next time after the PAOK game for the Kipelo. Hopefully it's a better time than this one is. And until then, we'll see you guys then.